Alright, welcome to the BMW M3 Touring. Let's get us ready for a little ride in this thing. Alright, so I've been driving this thing for about a week now, something like that. It's not the first time I was driving an M3 Touring. I was lucky enough to drive first thing I have to tell you guys that is so super annoying is the fact that these brand new cars have these speed signal warnings. So if you drive over the speed limit, it's like bloop, 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 all the time. Luckily there is a shortcut to remove the feature, but every time you turn on the car it's there again. With a BMW you just have to push the set button on the steering wheel and then you can deactivate it pretty quickly. Otherwise you have to get into the menu and just turn off the speed signal. It's horrible, but it's a thing in every brand new car that's coming out. So but besides that, this M3 Touring is honestly a pretty insane car. The first time I drove it was also for a week, but somehow, I don't know, I wasn't convinced about it. I don't know why. Maybe because it had winter tires, something like that. I really don't know. But this time I really learned to appreciate it a little bit more. Really use it as a daily driver too. And it's a really impressive machine. Honestly, it's a pretty cool thing. It doesn't have the it gives you, and it's so easy to go way too fast with it. Yeah, it's a really cool car. So yeah, M3 Touring. Touring is always in the xDrive version because the Berlin version you can get it still with the manual, but that's limited to 480 horsepower. And then you can get the Berlin with only rear-wheel drive. That's only a 510 horsepower, only 510 horsepower version. And then the xDrives are always 530 horsepower, 650 newton-meters of torque, which is pretty decent, definitely for a family kind of car. So yeah, really decent numbers. If you opt for a driver's package, top speed is 280, I think, which is still very decent. So this M3 Touring xDrive, you can play a bit with it. You get the 3 settings to discover, I'd say. We're in the 4-wheel drive system, and then depending on what you want, you can go for the 4-wheel drive sport. Somehow it's the one I hate the most because it gives you a fake feeling of a rear-wheel drive car and you don't necessarily know what the car is doing underneath. So sometimes it's like, oh, where should I send power? And then suddenly it goes, okay, all to the rear wheels, and then it really can surprise you in a not in a very cool way. So I do think that the 4-wheel drive I'm in now is the most easy one for your daily commute. And then if you want to do something, just go full 2-wheel drive, because it's not gonna surprise you in a messy way, because you really don't want that to happen with a 500 plus horsepower. So this one, you can see I'm in these wonderful bucket seats. Everybody thinks they're a pain, but honestly they're super easy to live with once you're in them. So I did 1,000 kilometers this week with this car and not an issue at all. You're super comfy. Once you're in the chair, in the bucket seat, you're really in a wonderful place. The only thing is, to get in and out might be a little annoying because the side is really high, and it can be annoying from time to time to in and out of the car. So right, let me see if I play a bit with this thing. So let me see. You can set it up all the way. You can even you can play a lot with it. It's really cool. It's really cool. Like if you don't want to go all the way flat out on the two-wheel drive, you can still the system a bit to help you, but otherwise lots of grip. That's good. It's so bloody fast. Okay, so I was talking about these bucket seats, super comfy, and they tend to wear a bit on the side, so that's a thing you gotta really be careful for. I don't know what will happen over time, but I've seen cars with like 40,000 kilometers, and the seats really suffered a lot. So I don't know if BMW is going to do something with it. Even also here in between, because of the lovely carbon part between your legs. But you can feel the leather that is really stretching on these sides. So I don't know how good it's going to look in a few years. And I remember the competition seats from the F generation, they still look good over time. So just let's see how this will go. But yeah, these seats are super sexy. The back full carbon fiber, and for the price that you need to pay, it's a really good deal, I think. And then again, you can switch between four-wheel drive sport, two-wheel drive. It's a pretty cool feature that was, I think, originally introduced in the M5 or E63. Was in those cars, and then it dropped down to the M3, which is brilliant cool. I understand why they did it. I'm not the biggest fan of it because it adds weight to the car, and I'm still like the kind of rear-wheel drive lover, no matter the weather conditions. But I do understand that for some people using it daily, it's a safer choice to just to make the car four-wheel drive. I do get it. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's just the way stuff goes sometimes. So yeah, it's a pretty cool feature. I just don't know how solid the system, the four-wheel drive system, is to handle if you start smoking your rear tires and you're wearing a lot of your rear end tires, how the system will handle the difference of it, because I know between all the four-wheel drive systems, the xDrive is kind of the one who's the most fragile one if you compare it to a 4MATIC or the Quattro system from Audi. So that's something to keep in mind maybe, but I've never heard issues about it for now, so that's pretty good, because BMW owners are known for being a little bit power slide lovers, so sounds really good. It's not the same as the old one, because I have some love affair with the S55. I do love that engine. Pushes hard. This 58 engine, it's different. It's more torquey. The other one came more alive at the end, I think. This one is a bit different in that perspective. You just have a lot of torque, which is super nice in your daily commute. But it's not as pleasant high in the revs. Whereas the other one, it was getting really, really, really alive. Once over the 5,000 RPMs, it was having a good time. Whereas this engine, I'm like, maybe it's just a feeling, but it seems like it doesn't like going up in the revs that much. Another thing that's really somehow really great, but somehow a little bit a shame too, is the gearbox. It's super smooth. Daily driving is super easy. It's fast. It's this little ZF 8-speed gearbox, which does a wonderful job. It's an incredible, it's just an incredible gearbox. We've seen it in many different cars where it performs just perfectly. But woo, alive. But I do miss the the sensational feeling of that dual clutch gearbox, where sometimes it did lack daily usability. Definitely in the first year it was like gluk 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 sometimes. But it was a charming part of the M3, of course. But as we've seen, people tend to use it more daily, just like I'm doing now. So they wanted a car that was just more, daily usable, more daily friendly. Definitely, if you go for a trip with your family, stuff like that, they don't want a gearbox that's like. Even if it was super solid, but it's the car has grown up a little bit more again, which I do understand, because it's quite an important model for BMW. So, but they did a wonderful job in making it one of the best daily drivers probably you are able to buy. Still, an incredible machine, and it always had that special feeling, like M3. Definitely now M3 Touring, the car we've all been waiting for somehow. So that's pretty cool that it's finally here, and we're seeing them quite a lot. So that's pretty. That's really cool. Honestly, it's really cool. I think it's really cool, and you get a pretty luxurious car too. So that's honestly, it's a pretty big deal how they have made it a very decent luxury car. This one, for example, I have the optional Alcantara steering wheel with the 12-hour mark in red, which perfectly matches my M1 and my M2 buttons. It has the extended leather package, so dashboard, top side panels of the door are all covered in leather. I have even a little bit of leather right here for my knee to rest on. And they thought about a lot of stuff in this thing. They really thought about it. You can sit really low. It's a very good thing too. I like sitting low in a car. It gives you more a feeling of control, which you can feel. It sounds silly, but you can really feel the car with your butt. And it is definitely these kind of cars. You really want to be low and steady, nice and clean in these bucket seats. Really gives a comfortable feeling. Beautiful display in front of me, which looks incredible. Of course, it's in all BMWs the same, so I don't have my typical analog counters anymore, which is a bit of a shame, but I do understand that definitely for a brand like BMW, they're supposed to be first in line with these things and not stay behind. But the display looks pretty cool. It's really nice. But it was just cool to have your rev counter be like at the end of your revs, with the colors of the rev counter changing a bit. I'm getting old. But besides that, it's a wonderful car. I do love it. I've noticed on the highway that fuel economy is incredible. I managed to be at a constant speed of 120 kilometers per hour. I was at something like 7 liters, which is pretty mind-blowing for a 500 plus horsepower. So fuel economy is yeah, but that is both the B85 and S85 are pretty incredible engines. Also regarding fuel economy, that's really cool. Let's go for a few twisty roads. Let's go. See how the M3 behaves a bit. We're still in rear wheel drive, so that means traction control is also off, so we need to be careful. We don't want to do any silly things. Right, get a few cyclists. Alright, let's watch out. Perfect. Don't want any trouble with the local people. I love the exhausts. Valves are open now. I think it has more to do with the artificial sound inside the cabin, but it doesn't sound too artificial, which is really nice. But it gives you these little boop, boop, boop when you change gears, so that's really cool. So that sound is pretty cool, and we still have, yeah, I'm so happy they continue to just put a wonderful six-cylinder engine in this thing. It's such BMW heritage. Another cyclist, you gotta watch out. As a cyclist myself, I wouldn't want to get run over by a car. That's really cool thing. This one also has the ceramic brakes. I do love them. That's the only thing that I don't like about BMW M products, is that the brakes in general, the non-ceramic brakes, are really not good enough. Definitely for the occasional track use, they're just not good enough. They tend to heat up really quickly and you just smoke them up in less than a day, so that's really not okay. Thing is alive. 530 horsepower on the rear wheels is it's really fun. Really fun car. It's a really great engine. Even if the sound is not there in my opinion, the engine itself is really great. Got some stuff going on in the back. Oops. That's the cool thing about this gearbox and which they kept. It's the fact that you can shift, or can still continue to shift with the gear lever. It's the thing that a lot of cars have now, somehow deleted. Because I do like the fact, just like PDK, that you can just tack. It's a little bit more engaging than just the pedal shift. And I do think it's a big element in the driving experience of a car. Alright, let me put it back in M1. Now we go back to the four-wheel drive, which is the one-wheel drive the most in. And then you get all these settings like engine, suspension, steering, brakes, and of course the xDrive system. The engine, yeah, it's if you want to go play, it makes a little bit more sound in Sport or Sport Plus. Suspension, depending on the road. For now, if you go for a little bit hobbly roads like these little B roads, I'd always go for just comfort because it's the more relaxing one, I'd say. Steering, I always leave it in comfort because the Sport is unnecessarily heavy. It feels like you're driving a car without power steering. It's super weird. I really don't like it. And then the brakes, yeah, depending on normal traffic, I'd say comfort. If you go on track, you can put it in Sport, but and yeah, and if you drive it, honestly, just don't go too much in the four-wheel drive Sport. It feels artificially weird. I don't really like it. So I go for a flat out one. Yep, lost. And then if you also want, you can you have 3 settings of the transmission where it just stays a little higher in the revs. Now, for example, in setting 2, and you can easily change it on the gear lever, and then it drops immediately a gear. So quite clever from the people of BMW M department. Yeah, it's a great package, this car. It's a really great package. Somehow it's too fast because with all these modern cars, not with all, but with a lot of modern cars, the sensation starts at seriously higher speeds because the car is just so good and so sophisticated that it's whatever 70, 90, 110. You're like, okay, and the fun really starts at high speeds where it's not really okay on a public road sometimes. So that's something to keep in mind. But besides that, the M3 Touring is such an incredible package. I honestly, after a week, seriously loving it. Yeah, it's a super solid product. Really incredible job by the people of BMW M. So yeah, this is your honest opinion of the M3 Touring. It's an incredible car. Does everything exceptionally well. The design is something that we can talk about a lot. I'm still not the biggest fan of the design just because the lines aren't that smooth as they were on the F models, I think. But it's growing on me, definitely with a few right modifications, just like this one has, with the adapted grille. It's lying a little bit lower to the ground. Small details, but that do and can change a lot on a car like this. So yeah, this was my opinion. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, many more reviews and honest opinions coming up. So make sure to subscribe for more, and we will see each other at another AutoNext video. Thank you, bye bye, cheers.